Now, after our test drive, we felt some slop in the steering. Now we got to figure out where it's coming from. So if you look at the top and bottom, you got ball joints. They form just a straight line axis, and your wheel turns about those, right? So to figure out if it's the ball joint with the wheel on, you want to grab the top and the bottom and do one of these. You can also, when you get the vehicle on a lift, on the ground, you can be prying up underneath to see if there's some slop, up and down in those kind of areas. Now, you also have this, tie rod here, which is keeping the wheel from turning. So that could be a slop. You got an outer tie rod. In here, you got an inner tie rod ball joint. And you also have the hub, right, where your wheel bearing is. So that wheel bearing could be in all those directions. So you want to feel them all out independently and narrow it down. What we found is the upper ball joint's, pretty good. The lower one is pretty shot. And the wheel bearing is somewhere in between, so it's got a little bit of slop into it, but it's got some growling going on in there.
I oftentimes wonder if people see mechanics when they're doing that, and they're hugging the tire, and they're like, what are they doing?
I love it, man. I love it.
I love this tire.
I love your tire.
But he wanted us to replace everything for this big, long road trip. Robert's one of those guys who's pretty meticulous. So
he likes everything tight, and it's got 100,000 miles on it, so while we're here,
easy to do.
Bang it out.
Start with the tie rods, man. So this is from B Pro Auto. This is a great replacement because they copied, the OE design. So it's almost exactly identical to the OE design, but here's what they did as an improvement. They have a multi-seal kind of deal here, so you got no contaminants getting in and contaminate your ball joint. So overall, man, a little improvement on the OE design. That's going to help steer that thing straight.
Yeah.
And obviously...
This is huge because, again, in all directions, you get some slop and what makes things go hairy fast. So these have, precision machining, but then they have a super finish, which is in the grooves where the balls roll. And that super finish is like a highly polished surface, so it's going to give you that longevity, that durability that you're looking for, and that smooth, quiet ride, which is important. So great handling and quiet, because wheel bearings, when they get loud.
I was going to say, man, one indicator for those wheel bearings is you'll hear that low resonant sort of hum, and it turns into a growl. It gets louder and louder. Big indication that you got a bad wheel bearing.
Yeah, and very similar on the lower ball joint here. Just precision machining. You got great smooth surfaces, so you're going to get precision motion and that longevity out of it as well. So, these guys, B Pro Auto, they have great coverage. It's real simple to order, and they're OE backed, so you know that everything is meeting the standards, that you expect from, car off the showroom floor.
Exactly. So get some of those, you'll be well on the road. Now we got to get this stuff on there.
Okay. All right, gang, let's bust out this lower ball joint. We got our tool set on here to push down, and we got a cup on here to make room for the ball joint to fall through. So let's get at it. All right, we got our lower ball joint in. I'm just breaking the jam nut on our tie rod, which is next. And what I like to do is just loosen that jam nut just enough to start spinning this off, right? So I'll spin this off, and then I'll compare the length from here to here on the new one. If it's identical, once I spin this off, run this right back up to the jam nut. That's my sort of position holder. I'm good to go. I can lock it back down. Now my geometry is going to be pretty close to factory, so I don't have toe in or toe out and get a bunch of tire wear. Now, we'll still get the thing aligned, but we won't have any issues driving it around until we get there. All right, let me get this one spun off, the other one spun on, and call this one done. All right, we got our ball joints in, we got our wheel bearing in, we got our tie rod in. Willie's doing a little bit of cleanup. We got a little bit of extra upgrades going on in the corners here, so we're gonna take a quick break. We got a lot more going on in this Jeep. Yeah.